I saw with a friend the movie The Avengers Infinity War. It is a terrific, epic, entertaining movie from start to the end that has a straightforward or simple plot, which is Thanos, the main supervillain, and his group, the Black Order, are trying to obtain the Infinity Stones so that he can use the Infinity Gauntlet to kill half the universe's population. Doctor Strange, Captain America, Black Panther, Iron Man, Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and all other superheroes with the exception of Hawkeye and Ant-Man, because they don't appear in this movie, are trying to prevent him from obtaining the Infinity Stones so he can use the Infinity Gauntlet for that goal. This makes great use of Doctor Strange, Captain America, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and all Falcon, and all other superheroes. They all get a chance to shine in action scenes because it's going to be focused on one superhero, and if it's focused on more than one superhero, it's not focused on too many superheroes. If it's focused on more than one superhero, it's not focusing. If there's more than one superhero is being shown, they're not showing too many superheroes, and it's hard to see. It's hard to see all the superheroes in action. So if there's more than one superhero shown on screen, it's not going to be too many. So all these superheroes get a chance to shine. None are being wasted or unused, not shown in action. And which is obviously best, and is obviously manageable, because usually all the superheroes are not in the same location, so it's easy to focus on one superhero, or if it's more than one superhero, not too many superheroes on the screen to focus on. If it's more than one superhero that's with the focus with the action scene. This does have simple villains. Thanos is a believable three-dimensional character. Three-dimensional characters, they have information about their background that explains their motives, so you understand their motives for the goals, along with they usually have that duality of good and bad, and sometimes there'll be characters where they have, whether it be heroes or villains, and there's sometimes characters where the extreme characters where they have more good and not much, if any, bad, or mostly bad and barely or no good. Thanos, he has this fear. He saw that Gamora's planet was overpopulated, and his solution, and because it's overpopulated, persons had to fight, scratch, and claw to get scraps of food so they didn't starve, so they could still eat. And his extreme solution to that dreadful problem is he orders his army to murder all persons on Gamora's planet, with the exception of Gamora, which he calls mercy. Obviously, it isn't mercy. He talks about this to Doctor Strange to explain his motives, and it's logical why he, having already seen a planet overpopulate, he fears that other planets are going to become overpopulated, and the abysmal scenario of the universe becomes overpopulated. So he decides to have this extreme, the ends justify the means, destructive action used of, he's going to use the Infinity Gauntlet to wipe out half of the universe's population, so the universe won't become overpopulated. So it's logical. You can see how he got from point A to point B. And he does talk to Doctor Strange about his motives, and it's logical that Doctor Strange, along with no doubt, including myself, and no doubt others also disagree with him, that what he did on Gamora's planet with killing persons, that wasn't mercy, that's genocide, it's murder. But not surprising that he calls it mercy. He's able to fool himself, or he's convinced that with his twisted logic that he's a good guy doing what's just, logical, rational, and right, and that the ends justify the means. So he's a believable three-dimensional character, even with him obviously being a simple villain, meaning you got no doubt this guy is a villain. And there's also his group, the Black Order. It never shows their background and what their motivations are, but it's obvious what their motivations are. Thanos is a juggernaut supervillain that could easily kill them with his physical strength, and with the Infinity Stone, with an Infinity Stone or without an Infinity Stone, just using his physical strength along with his other powers that he has. And if they're fighting him, there's a chance, or they're opposed to him, there is a chance that they do something wrong, that he'll decide to kill them. So by working for them, they eliminate the possibility of that happening. Unless, of course, they betray him, but it's doubtful they'll betray him, as they're unlikely to be able to succeed and kill him. And also, with knowing that he wants to use the Infinity Gauntlet to kill 50% of the universe's population, and with it being random, with them helping him, they can avoid having that gamble of being a part of that 50% of the universe's population that would get killed with Thanos using the Infinity Gauntlet, because he says it's going to be random. He does use the Infinity Gauntlet, but it's random. The way it's happening is random. He isn't just intentionally targeting these persons or intentionally targeting this person. Doesn't still change what he's doing is dreadful and egregious and disturbing. But with it being random, it's not With it being random, it's more the Infinity. After he uses it, then the Infinity Gauntlet, it's a random order. It's not a specific targeted order for the person's getting killed. And he does bring up to Doctor Strange that with this being random, that it's just not one group of persons. All groups of persons are going to die, rich, poor, young, old. So he also saying that to convince Doctor Strange that he's not a bad guy, not a monster, when obviously he is. But not surprising that he would bring that up to explain his motives and why this is the ends justify the means for the greater good, his twisted logic. And this also has three-dimensional characters of simple heroes. There's Vision. He brings up the android. He brings up the easy solution, that it would be easy for her or someone else to kill him, destroy the Mind Stone, so Thanos would not have the opportunity to obtain the Mind Stone and use the Infinity Gauntlet. And it's not surprising an android that he doesn't fear death, because he's an android, but it's not surprising he would have that easy. He's not opposed to that easy solution. And Scarlet Witch, she's not surprising, she is opposed. She doesn't want that to be used. She wants the best solution to be used that doesn't involve killing Vision at all, because Vision is her lover, possibly her soulmate, and she doesn't want Vision to get killed, be used as a solution for destroying the Mind Stone. And Captain America also objects to that easy solution being used. He says we don't trade lives, and it's not surprising he would. The glass is half full. The glass is half full. He wants the best solution to be used, which would involve not trading lives, not compromising. The best solution to be used that has no flaws at all, ideal or perfect. And that perfect solution would obviously be if he goes in Wakanda. Since they have this great advanced, or this excellent technology, they do have the technology to remove the Mind Stone from Vision, but still not kill him, but they would still have the ability to remove the Mind Stone and destroy that Mind Stone. And also, you got characters making, because they're three-dimensional characters, they're making mistakes. Thor makes the mistake. He does surprise attack Thanos, and he's able to pierce his body using the Stormbreaker axe, except since he wanted Thanos to see him that he's the one that killed him. And he doesn't chop his head off. He doesn't cut his head off. He pierces his stomach, and Thanos talks about his huge mistake of should have cut off his head, which is exactly why Thanos is able to teleport away and recover and isn't killed. Again, not surprising why Thor, because Thanos did make him watch, no doubt, killing all those persons on the ship and kill Loki. He watched that. He saw that with his own eyes. He wanted Thanos to know and see him dying with his eyes without cutting his head off. And you also have Star-Lord. He's able to create this solution of divide and conquer, and they have Thanos contained, and he does brag about it to Thanos that this is his plan. And it appears that they're going to get the Infinity. They're moving. It's hard to move that Infinity Gauntlet off, but they are moving it. It appears that they're going to get it off, and Star-Lord finds out that Gamora is dead. It's not surprising. He doesn't believe Thanos, believes he's lying, and continues to hit him, which is exactly why Thanos is able to get free, and why that plan fails. Even though it would have succeeded if he wasn't hitting. He didn't hit Thanos repeatedly with him able to get free. But it's not surprising why he's hitting him, and that he doesn't believe him that Gamora is dead, the woman he loves. So obviously, he made a huge mistake. Proved that he has this brilliant mind, can create a great, terrific plan to divide and conquer Thanos, to get that Infinity Gauntlet, to give him opportunity for that. But he still found a way to be the reason of why this plan fails. Whether it was self-destruct, it wasn't intentional, but still, the self-destructive sabotage, not intentionally, still happened. And also, Iron Man, he is a super genius, but obviously he's also a jerk-ass. He has that personality that seems pretty similar to Dr. House. Again, shown in this movie as a jerk-ass, which is exactly why Doctor Strange responds with insults to him, and does respond with a wisecrack to him with protecting. His response involves saying protecting your reality, douchebag. So you have these three-dimensional characters of these simple heroes, but they're also shown to have that duality of both good and bad and making mistakes, which is great, because if they did everything simply right, there would be zero drama. It'd be an utterly boring movie. You have these great, entertaining interactions with superheroes meeting other superheroes. Doctor Strange and Spider-Man meeting Doctor Strange meeting Iron Man. Doctor Strange meeting Spider-Man. Thor meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy. You got other characters meeting Black Panther. You got other characters that are meeting Black Panther, including other superheroes meeting Black Panther. I don't think I can recall Scarlet Witch meeting Black Panther, or Vision meeting Black Panther, etc. It's got all these in this. Everyone except for all characters except for Ant-Man and Hawkeye, because they don't appear in this movie, and the reason they give for that, to explain that, is they're on house arrest, which it's a reason, but it's still a flimsy reason. No doubt they could have got the persons to play the characters, Jeremy Renner and the other actor, I think it's Paul, if I recall right, Paul Rudd. If I'm getting that wrong, it's a mistake for the guy that plays Ant-Man. don't doubt they could have got them to appear in this movie. So yes, it's a reason, but it's still a flimsy reason for why Hawkeye and Ant-Man aren't in this movie. And you have this amazing and fantastic action scenes. I'm not going to list every single one of them, but I will list three of them. There is Hulk that fights Thanos, which is at the beginning or the start of the movie, and Hulk is winning for some amount of time, and Thanos is able to adjust. He smashes and he hits Hulk, and he easily picks him up bench press style, except he's standing up, and then just throws him to the ground. It's great seeing Thanos showing that he is, including early in the movie, that he is a juggernaut. He obviously does not have to actually physically fight the Hulk and other characters, but no doubt he does, because it'd be boring for him just to easily defeat characters using any Infinity Stones, along with the audience it would be boring for the audience to easily watch Thanos defeat characters just using the Infinity Stone instead of him using his powers, including his superhuman strength, that no doubt is in the same league as the Hulk, because he was able to defeat the Hulk using physical hitting him and slamming him to the ground. Another action scene is Thor is shown using his Stormbreaker, which is a big axe with instant teleportation, along with he instantly teleports himself. He instantly teleports along with Gorilla to Wakanda, along with Groot and Rocket Raccoon. And the Stormbreaker axe is shown spinning, and it hits multiple monsters, and it's moving at a high speed. It hits multiple monsters, and no doubt more than likely it killed those monsters because of how heavy and dense this axe is. And also Thor jumps up, he hits the ground using the Stormbreaker axe, which creates a great shock wave, and which knocks down a high amount of monsters. That was great to see, along with Thor surprising Thanos by stabbing him with the Stormbreaker axe. And also another great action scene is Doctor Strange shown fighting Thanos, and it appears that Doctor Strange is growing or produces extra arms, but it's actually shown as clones that are moving out behind him, and then they surround Thanos. And these clones all use the same action as Doctor Strange, and all the Doctor Stranges, they all produce a magical lasso. They throw it around Thanos. They're able to contain him, and obviously wants to find a way to remove the Infinity Gauntlet. He's not able to do that, but it was still great to see the Sorcerer Supreme fight a Juggernaut supervillain, which he did without hesitation, fighting a Juggernaut supervillain. And decent dialogue. I really can't recall any lines in this movie, any dialogue in this movie that's bad or awful. Terrific, memorable lines. There is too many to list, so I'm not going to list all of them, but I'm going to list more than one. Doctor Strange insulting Iron Man about his head because he sees about how does he fit that helmet on his head, since he sees that Tony Stark has a huge ego. Along with Doctor Strange saying he saw a specific amount of high amount of scenarios, a million. It wasn't 1 million, but it was in the a million amount of scenarios, and they do win one of those scenarios, so it's foreshadowing for the sequel. And also Spider-Man, he fears that he has an alien. He has an alien in his body, and he never says chest burster, but what he's describing about a alien exploding, moving out of his body, or exploding from his chest, moving out of his chest. No doubt he's talking about, or bursting out of his chest. No doubt he's talking about the chest burster, a alien from the Alien movie series. Also, Thanos says to Loki before killing, Thanos says to Loki's offer with a smartass remark, "If you consider failure experience." Again, a great callback to the fact that Loki has failed in other movies, including the Avengers. No resurrection this time, Thanos says to Loki before killing him. Again, goes back talking about continuity of past movies with Loki having resurrected before. And Tony Stark says in response to Wong's line about we, meaning as in the good sorcerers, meaning the good sorcerers swore an oath to protect the Time Stone. And Tony Stark's line in response to that, it's just great and memorable, or terrific and memorable. And I swore off dairy, but then Ben and Jerry's named the flavor after me. Doctor Strange in response to Tony Stark, what is your job exactly? Making balloon animals. And Doctor Strange just pawns him. It's just freaking terrific, memorable. Protecting your reality, douchebag. Also, Captain America is saying we don't trade lives, which was Captain America saying we don't trade lives, which is in response to when Vision brings up that it'd be an easy solution for the Avengers to kill him that would destroy the Mind Stone. And Captain America's perfect response to that, showing exactly what kind of character he is. We don't trade lives. It sums up exactly what kind of character he is, which is a pure of heart character, pure of heart hero, which is as close to as perfect as a hero can get. This has great drama, and none of it is contrived. It's logical why Thanos believes he is justified and in the right with using why he fears. It's believable why he fears that the universe is going to become overpopulated, and why he wants to use the Infinity Gauntlet to reduce the universe's population, which of course would be random. Of course, he still responds, even with making it random, but it still has that drama. So it's believable why you got this drama of that. It's believable why he's convinced, and he's trying to convince others that he's justified and in the right, along with, it's not contrived at all why you have these superheroes fighting other superheroes, or disagreeing, because Captain America and Scarlet Witch, they both want the solution used that has zero flaws. Vision isn't opposed to using a solution. He's a pragmatic thinker, that he is a pragmatic character that isn't opposed to using a solution, even if it does have an obvious flaw. You got Iron Man arguing with Spider-Man about who exactly is to blame for why is Spider-Man on that spaceship, and Iron Man didn't want him on that spaceship. Also, it's also logical that Star-Lord, Drax, and Praying Mantis are fighting Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man, because Star-Lord, Drax, and Praying Mantis, they decided to start fighting rather than ask questions first, and they don't know who exactly are these characters, and When they do exchange important information does get exchanged, then they discover that they're neither work for Thanos. They're both trying to prevent Thanos from obtaining the Infinity Stones to use the Infinity Gauntlet. But again, so it's logical why they'd be fighting. It's not contrived or forced at all. And so that's the great drama. You have this terrific soundtrack, including songs that perfectly fit the scenes. You have what looks like all hope is lost, or it's become bleak, with Scarlet Witch and Vision, and when it looks like Vision and Scarlet Witch are both defeated, and the members of the Black Order are going to be able to obtain that Mind Stone from Vision. But then a train moves by, and in the shadows, Captain America, no doubt Captain America is in the shadows. He steps out of the shadows, and there's the music that the tide has turned, and Captain America is fighting a member of the Black Order, along with Falcon and Black Widow are also fighting a member of the Black Order. The tide has turned. Again, the music fits perfectly. When there's a sad scene, including when the universe's population is shown dying, including Doctor Strange and other characters, the music fits perfectly for this awful, abysmal, somber scene that is just utter bleakness because it's happening and there's nothing that the superheroes can do to prevent this. It just fits the scene perfectly, along with all other scenes. There's a decent funny gag, and that is Thor. He repeatedly calls Rocket Raccoon a rabbit, and it's a decent funny gag because even after he gets even with two eyes, he still calls him a rat. You can clearly see that he's a raccoon, not a rat. He's a raccoon, not a rabbit. He continues to call him rabbit for the entire movie, and Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Drax, etc. No characters correct him that he's a raccoon, not a rabbit. So a decent funny gag that gets repeated. Funny moments and lines. One of them, there is the whole funny line with Iron Man talking about, Doctor Strange talking about how does insulting Iron Man, how does he fit that helmet on his head how does he fit that helmet on his head? Because it's talking about insulting him with how big because he has a big ego. Also, Iron Man getting frustrated with so much with the pop cultural references, and says some line about no more pop cultural references. Also, Drax believes he is invisible. Obviously he isn't, but he's still very slowly eating some food, and Star-Lord sees that he isn't. He's been there after talking, I think is to Gamora. He's been there from some unknown period of time to both Gamora and Star-Lord. And still, even with obviously he's convinced that he's invisible. I think he says I'm invisible if I move very, my movements are not sudden or slow speed. And Praying Mantis obviously saying that she can see him, and he's just so damn disappointed still, even after obvious that he's not invisible. It was still hilarious that he believes that he is invisible. Spider-Man talking about the chest, not directly saying, but obviously he's describing the chest bursters, talking about the chest bursters of the Alien movie series, fearing that he has that in his body. And Spider-Man with the irony, he has what's obviously meant to be ironic, talking to Iron Man that he can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if he doesn't have a neighborhood. And he says, well, that doesn't make sense, but you understand what I'm saying. The irony, it's funny because it does make sense, but he says it doesn't make sense. So intentional irony right there with that line, which is funny and great. This has impressive, diverse locations, and they all get used for logical reasons because if it's in Scotland, it's because Vision and Scarlet Witch are in that location. So the members of the Black Order, they have the objective to obtain the Mind Stone. Doctor Strange is in New York City, and again, members of the Black Order, they have the objective to get that, get the Time Stone. If they're using those, again, Vision is in Wakanda. Again, Thanos and the Black Order and the monsters are in Wakanda because they want to obtain that, the final stone, which is the Mind Stone. So they're not just using locations for the sake of using locations, and these are impressive, diverse locations, including Scotland. This has an exciting, terrific climax that has a high amount of action, which involves the monsters moving forward, and Black Panther, Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, Captain America, Scarlet Witch, etc., Vision, and other characters that are fighting these monsters, that are fighting the members of the Black Order. And Scarlet Witch, she has to make the challenging decision of, because her friends are getting overwhelmed on the battlefield and highly possibly could get killed, sees that they're getting overwhelmed and these monsters could easily kill them. Is she going to help her friends and leave Vision vulnerable? Because Vision, that Mind Stone, the surgery hasn't finished, and that Mind Stone still hasn't been removed from Vision's body. So is she going to go to that bat? Is she going to join them and help them with the fight, and leaving Vision vulnerable, or is she going to remain with Vision and she chooses to join the fight because she wants that Mind Stone to be removed for Vision, but not at the price of losing her friends that she can't help? This does leave Vision vulnerable, so not surprised. The surgery gets stopped and the Mind Stone isn't removed from Vision. And involved in this, obviously I described an action scene from this fight with Thor using the Stormbreaker axe. I'm not going to describe